You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Tennessee, Shuichi's Path. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go! It comes and goes in waves. That's the frustrating part. It doesn't take all too long to finally reach our destination. I hadn't walked this particular path for a few years now, since Shuichi moved away from the house. The whole thing brings me a sense of nostalgia that I can't quite describe. This time I make sure to walk side by side with Shuichi, not letting him walk ahead of me anymore. I shoot him a few sideways glances on the way, seeing a look on his face that makes me wonder if he's being swallowed up by the same sense of nostalgia that I'm feeling. Or is it maybe dread? I certainly hope it isn't. Eventually we reach the front door. I see a small wooden board that reads, Hayashida. Shuichi's eyes follow my gaze, and as soon as they fall upon the board, his face scrunches up. I guess it makes sense. He mutters quietly to himself, placing a hand on his chest and taking a deep breath. My brain races to try and come up with comforting words to say, but no matter what I do, I can't find them. The sound of hurried footsteps echoes from the other side, racing to the door and unlocking it. Oh, that's a cute outfit she's got on. Swinging open the door, Hitoka appears on the other side, a huge grin on her face as her eyes fall on the two of us. Hey, Yuichi-kun, you're here too. Hitoka, Shh! She brings a finger to her lips, giddily interrupting Shuichi before breaking into giggles. Hitoka? Who's at the door? Just something I ordered, Mom. The girl shouts back inside once a female voice calls from somewhere within the house, barely holding her laughter. You didn't. I wanted it to be a surprise. Be quiet. I said shush. Shuichi soon acquiesces to his sister's whims, a scene that is already all too familiar by now. Come on, let's head inside. Quietly. Oh. As soon as we step in through the entrance hall, we're hit by a wave of cool, dry air rushing in from the living room. I take a few seconds to look around, seeing just how much of this is the exact same as last time I've been here. A pleasant smell wafts in from the kitchen, a mix of familiar spices, chicken, and rice. Hitoka had probably been cooking when we rang the bell. No wonder she rushed to get to the door first. And then, sitting at an armchair with a book atop her lap, was a figure I didn't even realize how much I'd come to miss over the past few years. Her figure is still just as I remember, with only slightly rounder now than she was before. Unlike both of her children who inherited their father's fur pattern, Sachiko-san's fur is of a deep, almost fiery red. Her eyes, however, have the same vibrant green hues I've grown used to seeing almost every day. As soon as his gaze falls on her, Shuichi covers his mouth with his hand. His wide eyes focus solely on his mother, faint droplets forming on their corners. Sachiko-san continues to read, unaware of the sudden presence of two people that hadn't been inside the household until just a few moments earlier. Mom, there's someone here to meet with you. Who is... Sachiko-san looks up from her book, freezing as soon as she sees us. Her eyes fall upon Shuichi, slowly going wide as realization begins to sink in, her mouth hanging agape. Hitoka's previous mischievous grin slowly flattens across her face, her eyelids slowly sinking as she stares down at the ground with only the tiniest hint of a smile on her face. Devil woman. It's a good thing, though. She did a good thing. Shuichi? She gets up from her chair, taking slow, hesitant steps towards the three of us. Her expression shows me nothing other than utter surprise, leaving me completely incapable of telling how she's feeling other than shocked. She stops when she's standing just a few inches away from her son, who now easily towers over her. The older husky looks him up and down, her unmistakable green eyes twinkling even brighter than usual with the moist, glossy reflection of tears wanting to form. The shock on her face slowly subsides, taken over by a gentle, matronly smile. Reaching up with her hand, Sachiko-san places a hand on Shuichi's cheek, who has not moved at all even now. You've grown so much. Those words, barely even a whisper, spoken warmly and from the heart, are enough to finally disarm Shuichi. He wraps his arms around his mother, pulling her into a tight hug and leaning down to rest his chin on her shoulder. Yeah. A part of me really does feel like I shouldn't be here. This isn't the sort of thing an unrelated person should be in the middle of. But Shuichi's asked me to be here. For some reason he wants my support. There's no way I could ever refuse him that. Have you been good? Are you healthy? It's been way too long. Sachiko-san pulls away, holding her son's face in her hands and looking him fondly in the eyes, wiping the tears on his eyes with her thumbs. Shuichi laughs, placing a hand on top of her head and pulling her close once again to kiss her forehead. Have I been healthy? Such a mom thing to ask. You really have your priorities straight, don't you? It's my job to look out for you. Her words caused a smile on Shuichi's face to falter for a brief second, almost completely unnoticeable. In fact, if I hadn't gotten used to watching him closely since we started dating, it probably would have flied right past me. I'm sorry I didn't come to see you sooner. You've been dealing with a lot, haven't you? Shuichi's silence probably speaks louder than any words he could come up with. Chico-san shakes her head sideways, sighing. She's always been well put together, quickly recomposing herself and steadying her breathing. The smile, however, never leaves her face. She turns to me, placing a hand on my shoulder and smiling fondly. Oh, goodness, y'all. Bless me. What about you, Yuichi-kun? It's been so strange not having you around all the time anymore. Have you been well? I have, yeah. I'm sorry for intruding on your reunion, ma'am. Don't be silly. I've missed you just as much. You're part of my life for years. You're already like a son to me. I've been getting frequent updates on you and Shuichi from Atoka, but it's not really the same as having you around. She reaches out with her hand, gently stroking my chin with her index finger and thumb. The sudden gesture of affection causes me to blush slightly, wanting to turn my face away but being unable to do so. Wait, from Atoka? Atoka pulls her phone out of her pocket, playfully wagging it next to her face with a grin. Hakikin keeps me updated. I just pass the information along. Ah, I see. I guess these two really keep in touch a lot more often than I thought. Jeez, I can't believe you've been going through that much trouble. Maybe if a certain someone texted me and talked to me more often, I wouldn't have to. Heh, noted. Come here, sit. Tell me what's been going on with you, please. Chico-san ushers us to the couch before going back to her chair, with Shuichi taking the middle seat and Hatoka sitting to his left. It leads only the seat closest to Sachiko-san's armchair vacant for me. How have you been? Are you doing well in school? Are you still getting along with your friends? Mom, what's with these questions? It's such a stereotypical mom question to ask. Sachiko-san laughs, her voice carrying through the room. It's a bubbly, cheerful, nostalgic sound that diffuses any tense feelings inside of me. I spent so much time in this house over the years. Even though Sachiko-san was always busy with her shifts at the hospital, she was still a really frequent presence in my life. She also helped me a lot with Aki when my own mom was too busy to come home. Especially in the years right after Dad's passing when he first moved here. I know. I'm sorry. I'm just having a hard time containing myself. I'm so happy to see you two again after so long. I know. I'm excited to meet you too. I was so worried about coming here. I ended up dragging Yuichi along with me for moral support. The older husky hums in amusement, turning her gentle green eyes toward me. Thank you for being there for him, Yuichi-kun. You have no idea how much that means to me. Of course, ma'am. I wouldn't have it any other way. Shuichi reaches up briefly running his fingers on top of my head to show his appreciation. But tell me, Shuichi, why did you stay away for so long? You rejected all my attempts to reach out and... Did I do something wrong? Her voice cracks noticeably. Sachiko-san takes multiple breaks to breathe and recompose herself as she speaks, trying to get her voice under control. Mom. Of course not. You never did anything. It was all me. I felt really guilty for the longest time. Yuichi often tried to urge me to meet you again, to talk to both of you. The one who had a hard time accepting it. Then again, you always had a real You has always been a real family man. Family first and all that. It's not at all surprising that he'd be the one pushing me along. In the middle of his speech, I notice a small slip-up when Shuichi calls me you in front of his family. A brief sense of panic wells up in the pit of my stomach while I look around nervously, looking for any sign that they noticed. However, they both seemed far too focused on the rest of his words to even give it a second thought. Second, Neil. Water time. Alrighty. I did tell you lots of times to visit. I know. I'm sorry. It took a lot of his nagging to get me to finally work up the courage. Sorry it took so long. Sachiko-san leaned forward on her chair, her brows furrowed as she examined Shuichi's face with trembling lips. Why would you ever feel guilty, baby? You had nothing to do with anything that happened. But, Mom, I chose to go with Dad. I had my reasons, but still. I did something that hurt you. There was a lot I should have told you. That I really wanted to stay with you. That I felt like I had to go with that. That I saw... Shuichi bit his lip, leaving his sentence unfinished. Sachiko-san watches impatiently for a few moments, waiting to see if he'd finish the words left unsaid. When it became clear he wouldn't, she smiled again, reaching forward and stretching herself to place a hand on Shuichi's knee. You have nothing to feel guilty for. All I want is to have my son around again. None of those other things matter to me. Shuichi fidgets next to me, his entire body shivering. He tries to speak in between shaky breaths, clutching his fist on his lap. Mom. I feel an urge to say I told you so, although that would be seriously inappropriate right now. I'll make sure to keep any and all gloating for later. That should make it better. Now, come on, tell me more. What have you been up to for the past few years? What's been going on in your life? I want to know everything. Well, there's been a lot. You might be here for a while. A lot of it is boring, too. I don't mind, baby. I just want to hear your voice more. Talk to me. Shuichi nods, humming under his breath and leaning forward on his seat, his tail curling around behind him and brushing up against my legs, nestling itself there. Let's see. Oh, I became student council president my freshman year of school. That's pretty neat, right? My biggest pitch was trying to increase funding for the school festival, which I managed to do by... Shuichi begins to fill her in, telling her about most of the things that have been happening lately or that happened in the past. He goes all the way back to our first year of high school, telling her about the most mundane things. How he became the captain of the volleyball team, how they rose to become a powerhouse school in the prefecture, how high his grades have been, the friends he's made. I can't help but laugh a few times when he snarls playfully while dramatizing his recounts on how much Keiken has been an annoyance to him. Despite his seemingly venomous words, however, he has a wide smile on his face the whole time, laughing along as he tells both girls about their constant bickering. Oh, and there was this one time where this guy wanted to go to a library on our day off. Like, we're all together as a group, wanting to do something fun together, and he suggests a library? The whole time he kept arguing with me and bitching about how he didn't like cherry blossoms, blah blah blah. It's like he feels a need to disagree with me just on principle. And to be fair, that goes both ways. You're the same way around him. I guess that's true. He's really fun to tease and rile up. Sachiko-san laughs, covering her mouth with both her hands so as to not show her teeth. He sounds like a good friend to you. I'm glad you met someone you like so much. Pfft, who says I like him? I can't stand the guy. It certainly doesn't sound like it. Maybe a little. I guess he can't hide how much love he has for the hair, even when he tries his best to. Those two definitely have a weird friendship dynamic going on, that much is for sure. I'm surprised. The one time I met him, he seemed really meek and quiet. He barely said a word when I was around. Oh, I can clarify that one. That's because you're terrifying. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!